And there's my face. Do you want to see how much I'm sweating? I'm actually not sweating that much. Okay, let me just go back to YouTube. Okay, here we're good. Here we're good. Go. Camera's a little cockeyed. Okay. We're live on Rumble, people. We're going to go live exclusively on Rumble after 30 minutes or so. Talk about some stuff. Nothing that I wouldn't talk about on YouTube, but we're taking this party from YouTube to Rumble. Now, let's just all pretend the Rumble link, Langford, is the pinned comment in the chat. But I'll put it here in any event. It's the pinned comment in the chat. And now I see a nailed it Rumble rant from GL Seish. Okay, here. This is the link to the Rumble. That's not the right one. We're gonna delete all of this from our collective memories. I'm gonna have to do the intro a second time. I hate feeling like things are rehearsed. And once I've said something, saying it a second time, it's no longer the first time, and I feel dirty. So everyone, look into my eyes.
The new attention on the MAGA Republicans. You tweeted in 2016,
I knew this
Trump
was coming.
stole an election.
I was waiting, Peter, when you were going to ask me that question.
She was waiting
Well,
for it.
here we go.
Still doesn't have an answer.
Trump stole an election. You tweeted Brian Kemp stole an election. If denying election results is extreme now, why was
So
it
let's be really clear. That comparison that you made is just ridiculous.
Just ridiculous.
I have been
Just
you're
ridiculous.
You're asking me a question. Let me answer.
You're asking me a question.
ridiculous?
I was talking.
That was then.
At that time.
That
what
was me.
happening with voting
Now
rights
it's now.
and
Now it's
what
you.
was in danger of voting rights. That's what I was speaking to at the time.
The new
Speaking to,
attention on the MAGA
we'll go over it
Republicans.
very quickly,
You
people.
tweeted
She starts
I
off
knew
with,
this was
so
coming.
let me be
Stole an
clear,
election.
and then
I
proceeds
was
to lie,
waiting, Peter,
because
when
that's
you
how
were
it
gonna
works.
Ask me that question.
Well, great. Here we go. You tweeted Trump stole an election. You tweeted Brian Kemp stole an election. If denying election results is extreme now, why was
So
it then?
let's be really clear.
So let's be really
That
clear.
comparison that you made is just ridiculous.
ridiculous.
I have been. Well, you're asking me a question. Let me answer it.
And you said it was ridiculous.
I was talking specifically at that time of what was happening with voting rights and what was in danger of voting rights.
Oh.
That's what I was speaking to.
So she
at
was
the time.
talking about voting rights. And that's when it was okay to say that Kemp stole an election and Trump stole an election. When you're talking about mail-in balloting, when you're talking about drop boxes, when you're talking about a number of other issues, then it's not fine to suggest what you openly stated 4 years ago. She knew the question was coming, still had a convoluted, dishonest answer for an answer, but we fact check things here. We don't just take people at their word. She said the Kemp statement was in the context of voting rights. Voting rights. Now we had the article, which we were reading when I realized this whole thing was going to hell in a handbasket because I couldn't. Where was the article? I might have closed the article. Brian Kemp. No, I had the tweet. I had the tweet from. Oh, for goodness sake! Now I lost that. Hold on. We'll pull up the tweet, and then we'll get the link that was referenced in it. It was Jean-Pierre Kemp stolen election tweet. I feel confident. All I'm doing is quoting Jean-Pierre. I'm not saying anyone stole an election. I'm just saying that the current press secretary of the White House in 2018 said that someone stole an election. Here, let's see the tweet. This is the tweet from the current press secretary suggesting that elections were stolen. Reminder, because, that's the catchy way to start. Reminder, Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. Oh, that's funny because I remember Stacey Abrams also making comments about stolen elections. And then there's an article. Now, I want to see what the article says in order to vet the truthfulness of the qualification from the press secretary that when she said Kemp stole an election, she only meant in the context of voting rights. And that's somehow justifiable.
You had DeSantis in Florida, weak, feckless leadership, waiting for directives from the government, waiting, literally waiting as people went to the beaches and began to, I mean, this decision by this governor in Florida, waiting for Trump to tell him what to do.
I cannot listen to this.
What we've been telling people from directives from the CDC for weeks now, that
stay
if you
at home
start
orders,
feeling
okay.
bad, stay home.
Haven't we heard this from Dr. Fauci? Haven't we heard this from Dr. Birx? I'm sure the president's even said it. Pence is vice president. Even everybody's been saying you can.
What's
right?
he been
If I'm
doing?
wrong, correct me.
So where's
Saturday morning, the
where's the
power
voting
of
rights
President
issue?
Trump, specifically with Governor DeSantis, who was grateful to President Trump. He believed
this is a bigger problem for society is information inequality. Like, why did this?
So what was the voting rights issue there exactly, Jean-Pierre? Oh, when Jean-Pierre said that Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams, her defense of that statement 4 years later is that she was talking about voting rights, which seems to be mildly unsubstantiated from the referenced article. Okay. But notice that she only talked about one of her tweets. She conveniently, as far as I know, omitted the second tweet. The second tweet was about Donald Trump. Karine Jean-Pierre. What does it say now? Personal account. Oh, it's a personal. I'm surprised she didn't go with, but it's my personal account. You know, I wasn't, this wasn't as a government official. I was allowed saying it. But all the other Americans out there who might have similar sentiments about another election a few years later cannot even say it in their personal accounts. Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of #unprecedented Trump. Responding to Kyle Griffin. Is this another voting rights statement, Jean-Pierre? So if a foreign nation takes something of ours, we should let them keep it. And then we go to the tweet, which I guarantee you is not going to be available. I don't even know what the heck that is. Jean-Pierre says, and I'm quoting, stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented. Do you notice how conveniently in her answer to Ducey, she focused on the Brian Kemp tweet, but did not mention anything in defense of the Donald Trump tweet, probably because there was no way of defending it on any dishonest, disingenuous answer about voting rights. It was just stolen election, presidential election, not a gubernatorial one. It's totally fine. It's totally fine when I did it then. It's not fine when you do it now. That's how politics works. If it weren't for double standards, they'd have no standards at all. But like many people point out, it's not a question of double standards. It's a question of hierarchy. It's a question of hierarchy, and it's a question of them telling everybody out there, yeah, I did it. What are you going to do about it? You can't do it now. You'll get booted from platforms. You'll get yeeted from YouTube. You'll get censored from Twitter. But I did it. And now we've changed the rules, and you can no longer do it. Where was my response to that? No, let's just hear it one more time. Just one more time.
Attention on the MAGA Republicans. You tweeted in
Oh, I knew
2016
this was
Trump
coming.
stole an election.
I was waiting, Peter, when you were going to ask me that question.
Well, okay, here we go. You tweeted Trump stole an election. You tweeted Brian Kemp stole an election. If denying election results is extreme now, why was
So
it then?
let's be really clear. That comparison that you made is just ridiculous.
When I said Trump stole an election, it's totally different than when someone says Biden stole an election.
Well, you're
totally
asking
different.
you're asking me a question. Let me answer it.
And you said it was ridiculous.
I was talking specifically at that time of what was happening with voting rights and what was in danger of voting rights. That's what I was speaking to at the time.
That's a lie.
New attention.
That is a bald face, in your face, shameless lie, period. Even if what she was talking about was voting rights with Kemp, it wasn't clearly and directly, if at all, And it sure as heck wasn't what she was talking about when she said stolen whatever, stolen drone, stolen elections, unprecedented Trump. Liars. Liars in your face. Rules for you, but not for them. Okay, that's the intro, people. Now, following up on the big announcement of yesterday, exclusive live streams with Rumble. So we're going to go live on both platforms for 30 minutes, and then we're ending it on YouTube, taking it all over to Rumble. That's where the party's at. And if anybody, for whatever the reason, doesn't want to go to Rumble, can't go to Rumble, whatever, you can watch a replay on YouTube tomorrow. It'll be the stream itself. It just won't be live. You won't be able to super chat. There's a thing called super thanks, but the party's going to be on Rumble. And like I said yesterday, it's not going to be a place where I'm going to say things that I wouldn't say on YouTube. I might not have to use code word, shmishmorshin, Yahtzee, whatever, yada, yada, which I still find humorous in that it highlights the absurdity of the politically motivated censorship on YouTube. It's not going to change me. We're just going to be able to have a freer discussion. But bottom line, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre lied about what she did, why she did it, and it highlights the absolute hypocrisy, the shameless in your face. I get to say whatever I want to say, whenever I want to say it, and then I'll just change the rules. I'll just slightly modify the rules so that you are shut up, demonized, and berated for saying exactly what I said 3 years earlier. MAGA Republicans denied the elections. But when she says Kemp stole the election and Trump stole the election, totally fine. My goodness, so the bots are in and the bots are subscribing for 5 minutes. David is Justin Trudeau's brother. I sure hope not. That would be so gross, because that would mean that either my mother was stooping someone who she shouldn't have been, or my dad was. Both gross. And yeah, that's that. Atrocious. Everybody, just a little, we'll open a parentheses and just back away from the law stuff. We got our shipment of stuffs from Canada yesterday. So I've been running around the house, like I told our locals during an exclusive quick local stream before this. It's an amazing, the amount of clutter that you develop over time. And our stuff from Canada just got shipped down, delivered. Picture frames, pictures, stuff that you forgot you even ever had. And you realize, like, when you're walking around a totally empty unit, you get used to it. And then how quickly it gets cluttered with picture frames, kitchen stuff. But one thing has made it across the border: the deer head. Now, full disclosure, I did not shoot this deer. There's a fun story behind this deer head. Anybody who's been watching me for a long time would recall that at one point in time when I was doing a vlog in the living room, this is a 10-point buck from my count. See here, look at that. When I was doing live streams in the living room of my old house, people saw this in the background. Some people gave me some grief for it. Others just remarked on it. This deer head is over 100 years old. It came with a cottage my parents got, like a tiny cottage up in the mountains in Quebec. It came with the house. No one ever took it off the wall. And it's got to be like from 1910, 1920. And so at one point in time, people didn't want to see this deer head on the wall. And I said, you can't dispose of that. That seems like something of a sin. So we took it to our house in Montreal, and it's made it to Florida, people. This is it's the traveling mounted deer head. That's at least I say at least it's a good 100 years old. You could tell. I was seeing if the locals community can pull some antiquities. You can see from the back the flathead screws on the mount. And yeah, the only thing is my wife said this is not going on a wall here, so we'll see. Let's see here. Viva, can you push the issue of notifications when people go live instead of when they finish? It's my biggest issue with Rumble. I'm taking a list, by the way, of all of the issues. So I've got, so far, people have asked for RSS feed for Rumble, highlight comments and Rumble rants on Rumble, pause, rewind, and fast forward, which I think is available on desktop, and push notifications for when people go live. I'm making a list, and I'm going to get it to the people at Rumble. It looks infected. Well, it has seen better days, but I'm certain whoever took that deer in the mountains of Quebec ate every last piece of it and made a mount out of the head. So let's see what else we got here. Standard disclaimers, by the way. How much longer am I going to have to give the standard disclaimers? I'm never going to give medical advice. I'm never going to give legal advice on YouTube or Rumble. And I'm not going to give any election fornication advice. I'm not going to walk around and say somebody stole an election. We might have legal arguments as to how the election was fortified, as detailed in painful, meticulous detail in that Time magazine article. How it was fortified by a secret cabal. No, dude. You know what? I know we've all seen this. Entertain me. I will not give election fortification advice. I will just read. This just Time magazine itself detailing how it fortified the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. I just want to read one part. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Is this it? Well, that's not the paragraph that I want. Get this out of here. How do I close this? Sorry, I just want one word. That's why the participants... hold on. No, we're going to get there in a second. This is the inside story of the conspiracy to save the 2020 election, based on access to the group's inner workings, never before seen documents, and interviews with dozens of those involved from across the political spectrum. It is the story of an unprecedented, creative, and determined campaign whose success also reveals how close the nation came to disaster. Every attempt to interfere with the proper outcome of the election was defeated. The proper outcome of the election, says Ian Basson, co-founder of the Protect Democracy, a nonpartisan rule of law advocacy group. But it's massively important for the country to understand that it didn't happen accidentally. The system didn't work magically. Democracy is not self-executing. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream. A well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies, working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election, they were fortifying it. And they believe the public needs to understand the system's fragility in order to ensure that democracy in America endures. What a load of shiat that is. Go read it, people. Share it around. Oh, no. That's not stealing an election. That's fortifying democracy. That's not stealing an election. That's a secret cabal of well-funded people changing rules and laws, controlling the flow of information, blocking the Hunter Biden laptop story. For example, in order to ensure that democracy is preserved. What a load of shizniat. Viva can't shoot his hat for some stupid reason. Get Shorty, don't worry about it. Get Shorty, go to Rumble. In order to protect democracy, we had to destroy democracy. In order to protect democracy, what was the word they used? Not the intended outcome, but the natural outcome. I forget what it was. In order to ensure an outcome that we thought was the necessary outcome, we needed to change rules and laws, control the flow of information, but that's not stealing an election. That's fortifying democracy. And if you believe that, I've got a very rare unicorn head to sell you. It's a unicorn, but it's got 10 points. Load of crap. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Oh, that's it. That's it. Now, what else is in the news today, people? Bannon. They're not gonna leave Bannon alone. Period. When's he getting sentenced? He's getting sentenced very soon, in a month or so, for the contempt of Congress. They're apparently, according to Rachel Maddow on Maddow's blog, they're looking to indict Bannon. Bannon put out a post the other day. He's expecting to get indicted as well. They will not leave Bannon alone. What else is out there? TikTok, a platform that is used by young people, for anybody who knows. Well, the libs of TikTok keep discovering people on TikTok who are promoting very, very bad things. I'm not even mincing my words. Very bad things targeted at children, referring to puberty blockers as the catchphrase now is, it just puts a pause on puberty. Just pause. I'll get back to puberty when I'm ready. Giving information which is disinformation, misinformation at a medical level. And by the way, don't trust me. Don't listen to me. I've got the receipts because I just, I'll go see what the Mayo Clinic has to say, just to check. The catchphrase now for puberty blockers is, it just puts a pause on puberty. And speaking of catchphrases, another item of the day, it's very weird where in real time, you see people, you see leaders, you see politicians, you see people promoting international policy, all start to use the same terminology in tandem at the same time. Build back better, flatten the curve. What's another one that they're using, by the way? Now they're using, coming out of Gavin Newsom, step up. It's like they all start using it in tandem, and there's nothing to see here. It's just every leader, every politician starts using the same terms at the same time for no better reason. It's just a coincidence. We're going to talk about that. And what else? No, there's more. There's more. What was this? Let's just talk about Steve Bannon. We're going to go to Rachel Maddow's blog, and then we're going to move over to Rumble exclusively after this. MSNBC. This is Rachel Maddow. Why Steve Bannon expects to be indicted? Yes, again. Well, I thought this was Maddow. Okay, this is Steve Bannon, so it's not Maddow. I thought it was Maddow for some reason. Miss Scusi. Let's just read this. After having already been indicted twice and convicted once, they convicted him on the contempt of Congress after, 2 hours of deliberation. Steve Bannon is now expected to be charged again this week, and it's worth understanding why. Do explain. I have no doubt this is going to be a critical analysis as opposed to a rubber stamp. It all makes sense, and this is why you have to accept it. Steve Bannon just can't seem to stay out of trouble. Oh, that's one way of expressing it. He can't seem to stay out of the trouble that a highly politicized environment is intent on imposing on him. It's his fault, though. As regular readers know, it was just 2 years ago when federal prosecutors first filed criminal charges against Donald Trump's former campaign strategist and White House aide. That was the Build the Wall scam, for which he was pardoned. Him, but not Kolfage, his co-defendant. Federal prosecutors. Why is that relevant? Because I believe they're coming down with state charges now. Though the allegations seem to have merit. Oh, yeah. Trump made Bannon's problems go away on January. He pardoned him. Fine. That was not, however, the end of the political operative's legal trial. Oh, he's a political operative now. Okay. It's amazing. He's a political operative, but the man writing this article is a journalist. Doesn't matter. Bannon was indicted again after blowing off a congressional subpoena. Yeah, we've covered that at length on this channel. At length. While he awaits sentencing, which is currently scheduled for October, Bannon is apparently poised to be indicted again. NBC News reported, Bannon himself said it, almost 2 years after he received a pardon from President Trump in a federal fraud case. Bannon is expected to face state indictment in New York. We hear a lot about New York these days. No doubt it's Southern District. We'll see. In a statement first shared with the NBC News on Tuesday night, Bannon said New York has now decided to pursue phony charges against me 60 days before the midterm elections. other than the word phony, can't really disagree with the rest of that statement. Although I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're probably phony, they're probably politically motivated, and the timing is definitely suspect. Steve Bannon, host of The War Room, has numbers and viewership and a following that makes the likes of MSNBC green with envy. They just don't understand that success leaves clues. According to the Washington Post, which was the first to report the looming indictment, the prosecution will likely, quote, mirror aspects of the federal case in which Bannon was pardoned. Robert Barnes and I have talked about this at length on the channel during our streams. The idea of double jeopardy, federal charges for which you are either acquitted or pardoned. Oh, well, let's get a second kick at the jeopardy can and go for state charges, because you can't get pardoned for state charges. So I presume they can just freely bring straight state charges, even if it, as they say, mirrors aspects of what he was already charged with federally and pardoned for by Trump. In other words, it's time to take a fresh look at the We Build the Wall project. Let's take a fresh look at it. That's how justice works. For those who might need a refresher, We Build the Wall came into existence partway through Trump's term, ostensibly created to supplement the Republican White House's efforts to build. It was to build the wall, people. It was to build the same wall that Joe Biden now has gone back and said they're completing. They're not finishing it. They're just filling in holes. They're just leaving off. They're finishing up certain portions of that wall. When the government wasn't doing it, private actors started raising money to do it themselves. Bannon, Brian Kolfage. As a high-profile political player, Bannon's role as a board member of the outfit lent it credibility. It wasn't long before We Build the Wall raised $25 million. Did any of the donors file a complaint? Probably not. The project, however, almost immediately ran into troubles. ProPublica and the Texas Tribune reported, for example, structural issues raised concerns that conservative outfit delivered a defective product. So they actually built the wall. But now the fact that it might have had problems, as though the government has ever built roads or bridges that don't frequently have problems in short order. Maybe not. I don't know about the States. In Quebec, they fill in the potholes. They build the roads. They've got potholes next year. Oh, now structural issues. They're gonna say it's fraud. They stole the money to build a crappy product. The whole endeavor became so problematic that Trump tried to distance himself from the group and its endeavor. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure I would believe that spin. He was, by all appearances, brazenly lying. The Texas Tribune reported Trump claimed this privately funded border wall in the Rio Grande Valley was built to make me look bad, even though the project's builder and founders are all Trump's. Whatever. Okay. Let's just skip down. Oh, is that it? Okay, well, let's finish this here. For his part, Bannon told the public that We Build the Wall would function as a volunteer organization. Federal prosecutors disagreed. The Justice Department charged Bannon and his associates in August 2020, alleging that they defrauded hundreds of thousands of donors, capitalizing on their interest in funding a border wall to raise millions of dollars under the false pretense that all the money would be spent on construction. I discussed this at the time, and they did make that affirmation. I think it was subsequently attenuated, but they did make that statement, which obviously opens the door for people saying, oh, you didn't spend all of it. You spent some on hotels. You spent some on travel. You spend some on personal expenses. So fraud. You open the door for that. In other words, according to prosecutors, We Build the Wall leaders effectively pocketed some of the money they said would go toward the border project. We now know that at least some of those criminal allegations were true. Bannon's former partners in the endeavor pleaded guilty in April. The Republican operative, however, received a get-out-of-jail-free card from his former boss. So why is Bannon poised to get indicted again as part of the controversy? You're going to learn a lesson here, people. Pardons are federal and not state, because Trump's pardon didn't shield his former aide from state prosecution. This is true. Leave it to MSNBC to get something right every now and again. And if the reporting is correct, New York prosecutors apparently believe Bannon broke state laws too. We'll see about that. The accused isn't exactly denying that we'll soon learn of an indictment related to his border-related efforts. I am proud to be a leading voice on protecting our border and building a wall to keep our country safe from drugs and violent criminals, Bannon said in a written statement last night. They are coming after all of us, not only President Trump and myself. I am never going to stop fighting. In fact, I have not yet begun to fight. They will have to kill me first. That rather sinister last statement is because Bannon has now been swatted 3 times in recent memory, 3 times in recent history. But hey, look at that federal pardon. They'll leave it to this. I think it's the Southern District of New York. Leave it to New York prosecutors to find state charges to never let this guy get out of trouble. But he just can't seem to stay out of trouble. It's not that politically motivated actors are hell-bent on putting him in some form of trouble. It's his fault. It's not the system. It's not politics. It's not politics ruins everything. Okay, people, we're winding this down now. 30 minutes in, we shall be ending the stream on YouTube, bringing it over exclusive to Rumble in time for some very, very interesting discussion about doctors who go by the handle Ask Doctor on TikTok, giving what I do believe is or ought to be considered borderline, criminal advice, borderline criminal disinformation that will affect children very badly. Now, how do I end it again? How do I end it? I'm going to click remove, and I think that ends it on YouTube. Everyone go to Rumble. The pinned comment in the chat is the link to Rumble. Let's see it. Okay, I'm going to do this. Remove. Delete from YouTube. No, just remove. Okay. Can close that. Are we live still on Rumble? I'm just going to wait a second. I'm catching up on Rumble. I'm just watching myself like 10 seconds ago. I'm looking at the chat in Rumble. I'm there. I'm in the Rumble. Woohoo. There's a Rumble rant. It says MNL Hayes says CFP post. New Mexico judge ordered Otero County Commissioner be removed from office using Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. First time since 1999. I can't read the chats in Rumble because they go by so fast. Okay, good. We're live, people. I can see the chat. Yes, still live. Viva so intense. Leave it to me. I can make even the mundane intense. All right, people. We are exclusive on Rumble. Let's do the Rumbles only. I'm joking. I am, however, wearing Viva Barnes. Not a real university, people. VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com, where all of the community joins together to share information, and it's one heck of a community on Viva Barnes Law. Okay. Did we not talk about? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pulling up a chat on YouTube, and that's not what I want to see right now. So, chat, I'm going to move this away so I don't see this. I'm not distracted by it. We're live. Okay, people. Let's talk about TikTok. Let's talk about what on earth is going on in TikTok. But first, I'm going to read the rants, even though you can't see me reading them. I know everything seems illogical right now with absolutely no common sense, but it's for a reason. Viva, since you like documents and law and order, go read the documents.info. And this is from URS8243, a $10 Rumble rant. Thank you very much. Self-loathing lib says, Viva las hump day. It's hump day, people. We've got MNLH. I got that one. And Bill V35B says, Viva, you are bringing sanity to an insanely irrational, crazy, deranged world. Bill V, wait until we talk about this. Wait until we talk. I'll play the video. I'm just going to let the video go, and then we're going to talk. Well, once I find it. Okay, here we go. Now I think we're looking at the same thing. Wait until you see this. It's all in the eyes, people. It's all in the eyes. Not like it's all in the hips. It's all in the eyes. Here we go.
Puberty blockers are used once puberty.
I'm going to stop right there just for a second. You got your libs of TikTok there?
Blockers are
but
used once.
Oh, I think her handle comes up afterwards. Ask Doctor, because she's seems to be a doctor, and she seems to give advice clearly to children. because TikTok is predominantly a younger crowd. I know.
Puberty blockers are used once puberty has started, but not when you're too far along. And what they do is they just pause your puberty where it's at. And that gives you time to further explore your gender identity without the extra pressure of developing in a gender in which you might not feel comfortable. And then if you continue those puberty blockers long enough, then you can start replacement therapy with the gender identity hormone of your choice when you reach usually around 15 or so, or once you've been on that puberty blocker for at least a couple of years. Hope that answers your question.
She's talking to kids. It's obvious. I mean, she's saying you and not children. She's not talking to parents. She's talking to children. Look at that.
Puberty blockers.
But we're just going to break this down.
Once puberty has started, but
they're used once puberty has started, but not too far along in, because you can't block puberty once you've gone through it. I'll take puberty blockers. I don't know what they're going to do to me. They might, I don't know. You can't take puberty blockers once you've had puberty. You take them before or like right at the beginning. But wait, there's more.
But not when you're too far along.
Obvious reasons.
And what they do is they just pause your puberty where it's at.
They pause your puberty where it's at. I'm not a doctor, but does this doctor, in as much as she is in fact a doctor, think puberty is like watching a movie on VHS? I'll just put it on pause. I'm going to go get groceries and I'm going to come back and just start watching that movie where I left off, where I put it on pause. I'm going through puberty. I'm just going to put my puberty on pause. I'm going to futz around with my hormones for the next 2 or 3 years when puberty happens. And then if I realize I've made a terrible, terrible mistake, I'm just going to try to unpause that button. And oh, wait a minute, what's that? The videotape is the analogy doesn't work. I'm just going to put puberty on pause. I'll come back to you, puberty, when I'm ready. And that's all it is. Puberty blockers don't block puberty. They just pause puberty. Simple as that. If you change your mind, I'll just put pause back on. The movie continues playing. No harm, no foul.
And that gives you time to further explore your gender identity.
This doctor is telling children how they can go to their parents. Tell them they need to further explore their gender identity. They need to, because I've got a TikTok celebrity telling me it's the thing to do right now. Mom, it's just going to put my puberty on pause. I'll get back to nature when I'm ready and not vice versa. And there won't be any lasting effects, except there are, and I'll get to them in a second.
Without the extra pressure of
nature. Without the extra pressure of nature in a time-specific developmental issue, a developmental process that is temporally limited and doesn't give you a second chance later.
Being in a gender in which you might not feel comfortable.
Hold on. Oh my goodness. Hot dog fan, we like hot dogs. She's replying to a question from hot dog fans, we like hot dogs.
And then if you continue those puberty blockers long enough, then you can start replacement therapy with the gender identity hormone of your choice when you reach usually around 15 or so, or once you've been on that puberty blocker for at least a couple of years.
Look at this face right now. I can't believe that people are believing this crap. I just have so much power. I'm interfering physiologically with the natural development of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of children. I have power because I can get in front of a TikTok account and give medical advice that will permanently affect the lives of children.
Hope that answers your question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, you think it's parody. I went to her TikTok account. What makes sudden testicle pain? She puts a little $sign in the S because I guess of censorship on TikTok. No. What makes sudden testicle pain? Now, I made this joke to everybody on locals. as someone who has had 2 testicular torsions and a cyst in my testicles, I can tell you that this is not a question that anybody should be answering on TikTok. I can tell you these are not questions. I mean, I didn't even go to see what her answer was. If it's go do something to relieve the pressure. I don't know if that was the answer. This is not a question that anybody can be answering on TikTok. What makes sudden testicle pain? Here's another one she put up. Things that masturbation does not cause. She put a little $S for the S again. It's so cute and creative. Things that masturbation does not cause. I saw this video. Cliches is what the video was. But what this is, it's an adult, apparently a doctor. I will say it in no terms other than seemingly quite clearly grooming kids on TikTok. There's no other way to explain what's going on right there. She's taking DMs. She's taking questions by all accounts. She's giving, I'll tell you things that masturbation doesn't cause children. You're talking to children about masturbation on TikTok, and I'm not supposed to think that this is the literal definition of grooming kids on the interwebs? Hold on. Let me just go see what else is. Things that masturbation does not cause. Oh, here's another one about penises. I've gotten a lot of questions. I've gotten a lot of phimosis questions recently. I had to look it up earlier during our locals. Phimosis, and she's going to give us a graphic of what phimosis is when the foreskin around the penis head strangulates or strangles the penis head itself, or it puts too much pressure on the penis head when the penis head comes through the uncircumcised tip. This woman talks about penises a lot, it seems. Uncircumcised care tips. You know, I made the joke on locals. I'm not a man to say no uterus, no opinion. So I'm not going to say that, no penis, no opinion. She can talk about uncircumcised tip care as much as she wants. This is really, really disconcerting that it's a platform. I don't know what her numbers are like, but this is clearly someone who has an infatuation with children and penises and is giving advice which will have a lasting, permanent impact on a child's development under the pretext that Ask Doctor says it just puts a pause on puberty. Let's just see. Like I'm no doctor. I'm just not an idiot. I'm no doctor, but I'm not an idiot. And I know that you don't just put a pause on puberty without there being potential, if not guaranteed, long-term, irreparable, irreversible side effects. But don't trust me. Let's just go to one site in particular that's going to explain it in the most what's the word? In the most the opposite of extreme, in the most innocuous way of describing it. Puberty blockers for transgender and gender diverse use. Appreciate this is coming from the Mayo Clinic, people. Let me see, I got to bring the screen up here. Puberty blockers for transgender and gender diverse youth. Transgender and gender diverse children might choose to temporarily suppress puberty. This is a medical lie, not in terms of my opinion, in terms of what comes in the article right down here. This is a medical lie, contradicted by their own terms in their own publication in the same digital document. Temporarily suppress puberty through the use of prescription medications called puberty blockers. But deciding to get this treatment is a big step. Yeah, because it doesn't only temporarily suppress anything, like you just said. The medications most commonly used to suppress puberty are known as Gnrh analogs. Here's what you need to know about the benefits, side effects, and long-term effects. But I thought you just said it was temporary. What do puberty blockers do? Puberty's physical changes can cause intense distress for many gender non-conforming adolescents. When taken regularly, GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. It suppresses the body's release of sex hormones. It messes with your body permanently and irreversibly, including testosterone and estrogen during puberty. Sex hormones affects, we know what it does. What are the benefits of use of, what are the benefits, Mayo Clinic? Gender dysphoria is a feeling of, gender dysphoria, by the way, is in the DSM-5. It's a medical mental condition recognized by psychiatrists, by psychiatry today, and in the DSM-5. It's a mental illness. I mean, for lack of a better word, that's what it is. What's the best way to treat mental illness? Permanently and irreparably alter the body of the individual who's going through gender dysphoria. It's a feeling of discomfort or distress that might accompany a difference between experienced or expressed gender and sex assigned at birth. Gender dysphoria that starts in childhood and worsens with the start of puberty rarely goes away. For children who might have gender dysphoria, suppression puberty might improve mental well-being. Do you have stats for that, Mayo Clinic? Reduce depression and anxiety. Do you have stats for that, Mayo Clinic? Improve social interactions and integration with other kids. Eliminate the need for future surgeries. Oh yeah, if you get them early, they won't have to have later surgeries, just in case they might decide not to have those surgeries later. What are they saying here? Get them while they're children so that as an adult, they don't have to have surgeries. Get them when they're young and get them when they're impressionable. Children who by law cannot consent to a great many things. Reduce thoughts of or actions related to self-harm. Do you have statistics on that, Mayo Clinic? Okay. Temporary. Remember that word, temporary. Listen to this. What are possible side effects and complications? It's important for your child to stay on schedule with all related medical appointments. Contact your child's doctor if any changes cause you or your child concern. Possible side effects of GnRH analog treatment include injection site swelling. Oh, no, that's minor. Weight gain, that's minor. Hot flashes, that's minor. Headaches, that's minor. Use of GnRH analogs might also have long-term effects on, they might. Blocking puberty might have long-term effects on growth spurts. You won't grow. Your growth will be permanently stunted for the rest of your life because as a child, medical professionals decided to administer these medications to children who are going through a form of mental illness that is acknowledged and documented in psychiatry. Growth spurts, otherwise known as stunting your growth. You will not grow the way you would have otherwise grown naturally. Bone growth and density. Oh, that's an odd way of not saying what the problem is. It causes severe lack of bone density, which causes lifelong problems such as osteoporosis. Geez, Louise, I forgot that. You know what it is. Osteoporosis. What that the bone, not dense bones, which anybody who's ever dealt with an adult with osteoporosis, I can't get the word, leads to breakage, leads to serious injury as an adult. Loss of bone density is a very serious issue in the elderly. My goodness, imagine what happens if you've got that your entire life from childhood. Just potential. Future fertility. No, not future fertility. Future infertility, Mayo Clinic. It affects future infertility, depending on when pubertal blockers are started. If children with male genitalia, here, let's see this. We have to do this. Children may have their height checked every 3 months. Bone density is also checked periodically. If bone growth or density is a concern, your child's healthcare provider might prescribe a different medication, stop treatment, yada, yada, yada. If children with male genitalia begin using GnRH analogs early in puberty, they might not develop enough penile or scrotal skin for certain gender-affirming genital surgical procedures, such as penile inversion vaginoplasty. Alternative techniques, however, are available. You want to see what the alternative techniques are? You want to see what the? I'm not sure that we're gonna. I'm not gonna show it. That's too much even for me, and I'm not going to show it on Rumble. Go look it up. They remove skin from the forearm. But by the way, that's the Mayo Clinic telling you that puberty blockers are temporary and just put a pause on puberty. You might not grow. You might be infertile. You might have bone density problems for the rest of your life. You might not grow enough of a penis. But it's temporary. It's putting a pause on puberty. I was wondering, like, how anybody in the West, how any of these people promoting this can ever criticize about FGM ever again, anywhere else. There's no way to make sense of this insanity. I'm not showing it. People can, I see the chat. You can look it up if you want. It's graphic beyond comprehension. Okay, El Diablo, thank you for the Rumble rant. Osteoporosis there. Sorry, osteoporosis was the word. Big Pete 44 is in the house. Viva, can you please go over the Gateway Pundit article last night on the January 6th political prisoners being beaten and tortured for taking off masks to take meds? It's an outrage. It needs attention. I say, you know, I'll go. It's one of those things, you know, like the Gateway Pundit has been branded as an outlet. And so anything that the Gateway Pundit reports on will be regarded, dealt with, you know, will be viewed with a certain degree of skepticism. Let me just Google that before we get to the next. Okay, you know what? I'll look into that later, and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. No, temporary. Just puts puberty on pause. Osteoporosis, stunted growth, don't grow enough penis. I mean, I'm sorry, just a minor thing. Oh, you won't have enough flesh for the inversion surgery. How about not having a penis? If at a later point in your life you say, yeah, I was going through a phase, I found other ways of coping with my gender dysphoria. But now look, what level of distress am I going to be under as an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old who's trying to live life now with all of these conditions? It's absolutely absurd. And you got Ask Doctor talking about testicles, foreskin, keeping your wee-wee clean, and puberty blockers. Just put a pause on puberty. All right. Puberty blockers, just a pause, is the new catchphrase of the day. Let's just get into the catchphrases. Like, oh, when you try to brainwash someone, or you're trying to what's the word? Hypnotize them, you say the same thing over and over again. Say it over and over again, and eventually it catches. Do we all remember Build Back Better? Do we remember the Build Back Better? And all of a sudden, at the same point in time, all of these politicians all over the world, in unison, coincidentally and inexplicably, started using the term Build Back Better.
And of course, we also want to work together on building back better.
Of course we do. Right. We've got to build back better.
Joe has used several times. I think he may have nicked it from us.
Once we shut down the virus,
Was another one.
To workers and businesses, then we can start to build back better than before.
But it is undoubtedly an opportunity for us to work together and build back better.
Almost like we're being brainwashed.
Build back better.
As the world recovers, we have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
Build back
and
better.
Building back better our economy and society.
We owe it to future generations to build back better and base our recovery.
Do we need to keep going?
On solid foundations.
Where's Trudeau?
The second plank.
I need Trudeau. Oh,
can build back better, advances racial
Where's
equity
Trudeau?
by mobilizing our infrastructure.
And creating new risks.
Build back
Together,
better.
we can build a safer world.
Nothing to see here. Who's this guy?
Response to build back better.
You know what Donald Trump will do with 4 more years? Blame, bully, and belittle. And you know what Joe Biden
Three Bs.
Build back better.
Oh my God. Well played, Billy. I can see why you're so alluring. Young interns felt the need to fellatio you in the White House. Yes. So charming, so mesmerizing. Oh. Build back better. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. But old Bill was building back better back when before it was cool. So just like that, by the way, everybody says Build Back Better. And like we're left being called conspiracy theorists for asking, how is it and why is it that everyone across the world, across political spectrum, well, not even across political spectrums, actually, it seems to be on one side of the political spectrum, across nations, Build Back Better. Odd. It's almost like, the other one, Flatten the Curve. Let's hear what she has to say.
And this is what is expensive, because in these peak demands, the expensive gas comes into the market.
Emergency.
So what we have to do is flatten the curve and avoid the peak demands. We will propose a mandatory target for reducing electricity use at peak hours, and we will work very closely with the member states to achieve this. And this is what is in the market. So what we have to do is flatten the curve.
Just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks.
Avoid the peak demands.
Flatten the curve, avoid the peak demands, which was the excuse to shut down the world because we had to flatten the curve so as not to overwhelm the healthcare facilities. And flatten the curve was the catchphrase. Brainwashing, mesmerizing, hypnosis, whatever you want to call it. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Who doesn't remember that? And who's not traumatized by that? Well, there's another one, by the way. I put together a montage. Hold on. I put together a montage. Where is it? Where the heck is the montage? But, hey, I did it. I made it. I know that I made it. Here we go. It's this. I'm very happy with this, by the way.
Californians, you've stepped up. Everyone has to do their part to help step up.
We expect the church to take up and step up.
Canada needs to step up, step up, stepped up,
step up,
step up.
You're in a state where we're experiencing the extremes. And so we're on the leading and cutting edge of not only dealing with the realities of it, but also the opportunities.
Step up, step up, step up, step up, step up. Californians, you've stepped up.
Someone has to explain to me. I know I gesticulate with my hands.
You're in a state where
this
we're
is madness.
Experiencing the extremes. And so we're on the leading and cutting edge of not only dealing with the realities of it, but also the opportunities.
Step up, step up, step up, step up, step up.
Step up now. Step up is the new one. Just wait for it, because step up for country. If you do not step up for country, you do not love mother country. As Gavin Newsom is trying to flatten the curve in California, rolling blackouts, overwhelming the grid. At the same time, by the way, they're saying everything is going to go electric. Gavin Newsom, again, I'm no doctor. I'm just not an idiot. I'm no energy specialist. I'm just not an idiot. How are you going to mitigate electric vehicles that you're mandating replace gas cars when you can't even satisfy current electric demand in California? How's that going to happen? Again, I'm no doctor. I'm no politician. I'm no whatever. But how's that going to happen? Oh, we got the Build Back Better video. Dude, did we not see the video that I was just looking at? Oh no, I'm so stupid. I'm sorry, because I'm watching a freeze frame from a while back. How is California going to do that? Can't satisfy current demands, telling people they have to step up for country. Just stop living, everybody. Consume less. Put your thermostats to 95 degrees, because you don't need it to be cooler than that. It's not dangerous until it gets to be 95. Don't take showers anymore. Don't eat red meat. Don't eat meat. You know what? Don't eat. Just bugs. That's all you're going to have now. Don't do your wash. Like, just rinse it in some, I don't know, keep a bucket of tap water. Just rinse your clothes out. You don't need to use soap on your underwear anyhow. Let it dry in the sun, because it's damn hot out there. And that's your life now. Step up for mother country. Step up, because your governments are absolute incompetent, corrupt institutions. Step up while Gavin Newsom steps in to the laundry to sip up and drink up and eat up. And it was there was no real story there. It was just I wanted to show you that montage. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go look for the January 6th. Stolen emails we discussed. Okay. Criminal level indoctrination we discussed. Unbelievable. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Oh, sorry. Actually, I wanted to show you this just like in case anyone doesn't remember. I mean, I'm not going through all the videos, but just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. These are the search results. Surgeon General, we can flatten the curve. Coronavirus. What did he say? He said it somewhere in there. What does flatten the curve mean? Plank the curve. At one point, Justin Trudeau turned it into plank the curve. The cabal didn't like that. It went back to flatten the curve. It's only 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Flattening the curve. 2 weeks. Yada yada. Coronavirus. It's actually working. Oh my goodness. It's actually 2 years ago. 2 years ago. You know, we got.
I was basically bedridden after
We got to go see what Fauci said 2 years ago. It's actually working, people. Oh my goodness. Sorry, we have to wait through ads. I know I need ad blocker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Birx, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. So what Dr. Birx has really said very simply is that there are really two dynamic forces that are opposing each other here.
Listen
as
to
I
this.
mentioned.
I mean, we're watching this with 2.5 years of hindsight. This is March 31st, 2020. Let's hear what Fauci, the liar, has to say. The liar, by the way, proven liar. Let's see what the liar had to say then when none of us had the knowledge that we have now. Kierkegaard, people, life can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. Let's go understand how much we were being lied to backwards.
Several times in our briefings, the virus, if left to its own devices, will do that dark curve that Dr. Birx showed you. The other dynamic force is what we are doing, what we're trying to do, and what we will do in the form of mitigation.
Mitigate.
Now, these are very revealing bits of data because you saw what happened in Italy, where you make the turn around the curve and you go. That doesn't happen all at once. It's a stepwise fashion.
I can't listen to
and
this
if
guy.
I explain the steps, which I will, you'll see why we are really convinced that mitigation is going to be doing the trick for us. Because what you have is you have an increase in new cases at a certain rate. When the increase in new cases begin to level off, the secondary effect is less hospitalizations. The next effect is less intensive care.
How did that turn out, Fauci? How did it all turn out? What did they say? 500 million people plunged into poverty as a result of lockdown measures. How do we flatten that curve? Unbelievable. You watch it in hindsight. I watch it in hindsight. I feel like an absolute buffoon for have ever at any point in time thought it was going to be 2 weeks. I feel like I what kind of idiot was I? January 6th defendants. Let me see if we can get this. Can't seem to find anything. Okay, well, we'll get to that. I'll read that and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. There's some articles that are not new about the torturous conditions. Oh, man. Okay, let's just go to the chat here and see what's going on in the chat. There's no way I can keep up with that chat. No way I can keep up with that chat. Okay, the next story that we're going to talk about, people. Talked about Bannon. I want to read through this story. Pierre Curie. And you know, someone sent this to me, and I said, you know, the issue is you can't even talk about certain things, and when you do, depending on who talks about it, it's nobody's going to listen. Pierre Curie has been written off already by the mainstream. The miracle not heard. This is Pierre Curie's medical musings. The miracle not heard around the world, the success of Uttar Pradesh, part 1. The North Indian state of 231 million people eradicated COVID with an ivermectin treatment program, representing one of the greatest public health achievements in the history. It was kept a global secret. What I would love to see is someone who will respond to this honestly with open discourse, because at some point it's impossible to verify information that you read online independently. You just have to see if someone who is also trustworthy and who has been relatively accurate historically has rebutted the contents of a doctor's blog, a doctor's article. It's a state in northern India with a population of 231 million people. It's the home to the Taj Mahal. All right. In my view, the foundation of UP's historic achievement rests on the integrity of its chief minister, Yogi Adityanath. He is a Hindu monk known for his philosophy of zero tolerance against corruption. Okay, but this goes on for a long time. Let's see if we can do this. We're not going to be able to do this all in real time. Oh, this is the problem of this is the problem of too much information. Let me just go to let's go to we're going to have to scroll down here a little bit. The bottom line to all of this study, I'm going to go put it in the chat. The bottom line to all of these studies is we know that there are countries that are statistically under-vaccinated. Let's just say India vaccine rates. Percentage of the Indian population that are vaccinated looks like 68.4% fully vaccinated. In the countries that are at 80+%, in the countries that are the least vaccinated, when you don't have the disastrous doom and gloom predictions that never came to fruition, how do you explain it? Koori, I'll put the article in here and you can have a look at it and you can have a read at it. Koori, is now going where other people might be going. Now, as far as I understood, by the way, let me see this. Ivermectin. I think ivermectin was now being recommended by the NIH. Oh well, let's go to a fact check here. Let's go to a fact check. Share. No, stop screen. Share. I want to see what this says here. We got to read both sides. MMA fighter falsely claims NIH added ivermectin to COVID-19 treatment list. We've seen this going around. Which fighter was it? Mixed martial Jake Shields. I've been following him on Twitter for a while. I think he's pretty reliable. Mixed martial artist MMA fighter Jake Shields recently claimed on Twitter that on August 31, the National Institute of Health added ivermectin to the list of COVID treatment. The tweet also stated, "Looks like the conspiracy theorists were right and the experts wrong once again." Okay, let's see this fact check. According to Shields, the National Institute of Health, apparently just one of the institutions and not all of them. Thank you for that massive distinction, Forbes. Beautiful. Added the anti-parasitic medication ivermectin to the list of COVID treatment. Oh, at least they're referring to it as anti-parasitic and not horse dewormer. At least Forbes has gotten off that talking point that made the rounds in unison at the same time miraculously. Sorry, not the list of treatments plural, but the list of just one treatment singular. And based on what Shields said, the conspiracy theorists, apparently the one big one, oh, you got him, Forbes. You got him. Can we get to the substance of this? That tweet got retweeted 15,000 times. Okay. Besides an interesting mismatch, oh, you got him on grammar too, Forbes. This is some good fact checking. Besides an interesting mismatch of plural and singular nouns and verbs, there was one itty-bitty problem with Shields had tweeted. He didn't provide any evidence supporting his statement, and the statement went against what's actually listed on the NIH guidelines. Okay, let's do this here for 1 second. We'll come back here. I'm going to just scribble it. Okay, two things were wrong, along with the plural. Oh, stop it. Before believing what Shields says about the NIH, you may want to look up NIH COVID treatment guidelines yourself. The ivermectin page specifically says the following. The panel recommends against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19, except in clinical trials. Why did Shields make it seem like the NIH recently changed their stance? After all, the NIH COVID-19 treatment guidelines have long recommended against the use of ivermectin for the treatment. Okay. All of that began way prior to August 1st. Okay. Did Shields provide any evidence that ivermectin actually works against COVID-19? Well, Shields' tweet thread went on to mention the study. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, they're getting into the study. It doesn't matter. Without a source, the link, yada, yada. Nonetheless, if the NIH added ivermectin to the list of COVID treatment or treatments, don't you think the NIH would have announced such a change? If there were indeed a legitimate, groundbreaking scientific study on ivermectin, surely you'd be able to find it on PubMed, a major press release. After all, it's not as the middle. Oh, surely you'd be able to find it. It's not like things have, it's not like there have been problems before. Let's just see here, and let's just see where we can. Well, it's funny, in the link that they provide, I don't see where they're talking about ivermectin. We're going to have to do this. NIH ivermectin. Last updated April 29, 2022. Ivermectin is a Food and Drug Administered approved antiparasitic drug used to treat. Yada, yada. Okay. Proposed mechanism of action and rationale for use in patients with COVID-19. Interesting. Forbes, you didn't mention this in your article. Let's just see what they have to say here. Reports from in vitro studies suggest that ivermectin acts by inhibiting host important alpha, beta, 1 nuclear, which are part of the key intracellular transport process. Okay. Ivermectin has been shown to inhibit replication of SARS-CoV-2 in cell cultures. However, pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic studies suggest that achieving the plasma concentrates necessary for the antiviral efficacy detected in vitro would require administration of doses 100-fold higher than those approved for use in humans. Although ivermectin appears to accumulate in lung tissue, predicted systemic plasma and lung... okay. The panel recommends against the use of ivermectin treatment, except in clinical trials. Interesting. Although there have been many ivermectin studies, only a few trials have been adequately powered, well-designed, and well-conducted. More recent clinical trials address the limitations of earlier studies, but fail to show clear evidence that ivermectin reduces time to recovery or prevents COVID-19 disease progression. For this reason, and because several medications have now demonstrated clinical benefit for the treatment of COVID-19, the panel recommends against the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID-19, except in a clinical trial. Additionally, additional adequately powered, well-designed, and well-conducted trials are needed to evaluate the effect of ivermectin on COVID-19. The panel will continue to review emerging data on ivermectin use, including the results from 2 large ongoing randomized controlled trials. Okay. Important. Those are detailed. The tweet itself, I think we could have all suspected that something that runs on that type of categoric might be probably not entirely accurate. There was a recent tweet going around. Apparently, it's a screen grab from CTV with the headline reading, "Conspiracy theorists have been proven right too many times. That doesn't bode well." When it looks like that and it smells like something like that, chances are it's not entirely accurate, as that headline wasn't. Don't share that CTV headline. If you see it, it's a doctored image. CTV never actually ran that headline. But there is a little bit more to that story than Forbes was saying. And when you go read it, it's interesting. Some might say, why haven't there been large-scale clinical trials of ivermectin? Anybody who listened to the real Anthony Fauci might know the answer to that question, or might have a little bit more information on that question than others. There might be reasons for which there were not the, what some people consider the necessary amounts of trials. Large-scale clinical trials of ivermectin to treat COVID-19. Some people might hypothesize that if an existing treatment were found to be an effective treatment, then one could not get emergency use authorization for certain other medical interventions. Sorry, thought someone just came into the room. If there were existing medications that could treat something, you wouldn't get EUAs with all the benefits that those procure. Just food for thought. Yeah. And now I see some people in the chat sending links of purported studies. But look, more clinical trials are needed, but we haven't conducted them. And why haven't we conducted them? There might be a lot of very political reasons for which exploration into existing out-of-patent treatments might not have been in the best interest of the pharma companies, which are now posting record profits, not just because they have what some doctors refer to as therapeutics, and what YouTube now allows you to say does not prevent transmission. Not only do they have therapeutics that don't prevent transmission, but they also have additional medications to treat infections when what some doctors call therapeutics and YouTube now recognizes can be publicly stated does not prevent transmission. When it doesn't work, the companies that provided a treatment or something that doesn't work, they have treatments for their own other product not working. Paxlovid, just to name one. Harumph. Only crisis. Viva, large trials in many countries. You know this is right. Well, I don't know I know that I've read that large studies have been done, or large clinical trials. I don't know what you consider large, but I've read that. But I'm not a doctor, so I just defer and read between the lines. And yeah, so that's it. That was the Dr. Corey. Everybody can. I mean, I think a lot of people are following him regardless. The issue is that it's such a sick, cynical world. If you refer to a Dr. Malone, a Dr. Corey, a Dr. Christian, a Francis Christian, I can throw out another handful of names. You refer to those doctors, people who are indoctrinated and do not want to open their minds to think. Oh, those are the crazy, discredited doctors. Why you're an idiot for listening to them? Yeah. Let me see something here. Okay, I'm gonna start shutting down some of the stuff in the back so that we don't. That one is going to anger me for a while. The games that are being played and the euphemisms and the mischaracterization to the detriment of young impressionable children. Temporary. Okay, hold up here. Let's see. Twitter. I'm going to go to my timeline here. Tonight, by the way, we have Sydney Watson is on for Sidebar, and it's going to be fantastic. So that's going to be at 7:00. Busy day. Twitter. Let's just see the other stories that we have yet to discuss. Oh yeah, I think that I've noticed that there might be something of a brigade because certain older videos on YouTube, tweets, getting people reporting them. Someone reported my tweet to the CBC, which read, "CBC, you lying propagandist political hacks. It's stated policy. It's on their website. And your boss, Justin Trudeau, his henchwoman, Chrystia Freeland, Justin's water carrier, Jagmeet Singh, are all on board. In Freeland's case, quite literally, she's on the board of the WEF." Someone reported that as violating Twitter's terms of service. Thank goodness under German law, I got the go-ahead. But it might be an indication that tweet might have angered somebody. Maybe people don't want people knowing that Canadian politicians are on the board of trustees of the WEF. So, maybe go amplify that. Okay. We've got that. What am I in incognito? Shouldn't be in incognito. Hold on, people. Okay, let's do this here. Try that second try. Some glitches today. All right. What's the problem? I'm not even logged into my account. Forget it. Okay, people, let's go see what's going on in the chat and see if I can take some questions and see what's going on there. Only crisis. Viva. Many countries had larger trials. Kirshner, I am a doctor. Kirshner, we had Harvey Reich on the channel. Okay, hold on one second. I'm just going to go back. Why am I logged out of my own Twitter? It's curious. So Sydney Watson 7 o'clock, and I've been watching some of Sydney Watson's old some older podcasts to get a feel. We're gonna have a lot to talk about because she's from Australia, ich bin from Canada, and my goodness, she's moved to the States, and her experience in the States compared to Australia. We're going to have a lot to talk about given what went on in Canada. Okay, here we go. Let's go back down here. Okay, we got that. So I tweeted out as a joke, and some people don't even appreciate this. I tweeted out because it's funny. A stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen elections. Welcome to the world of #unprecedented Biden. And some people don't get the joke that this is verbatim, but swapping Trump for Biden, what the press secretary tweeted. And some people read that and say, I'm spreading misinformation, not even understanding the irony behind that tweet. Yeah, I want to buy a billboard in Quebec. I want to buy it. I'm not sure that I can, but whatever. And Nate Brody and I had a discussion on Twitter yesterday. We still like each other.
You tweeted in
Oh, I knew
2016
this was
Trump.
coming.
That wasn't it.
30,000 emails.
Hillary Clinton tweets. I can't believe we're still talking about this, but my emails. I can't believe it either. As Trump's problems continue to mount, Trump just can't stay out of trouble, much like Bannon. The right is trying to make this about me again. No, by the way, no, they're not. You made it about yourself, Hillary. You started marketing merch, but her emails. You made this about you. Classic projection doesn't even matter. There's even a Clinton standard. I'm not sure what that Clinton standard is. The fact is that I had 0 emails that were classified. The fact is that I had 0 emails that were classified. Comey admitted he was wrong after he claimed I had classified emails. Trump's own State Department No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Now, hold on, because I posted the video of Comey.
30,000 emails returned to the State Department in 2014, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time they were sent. 36 of those chains contained secret information at the time, and 8 contained confidential information at the time. That's the lowest level of classification.
Okay, and someone in response then goes to cite his subsequent testimony, apparently, where he attenuated that number. Where is that? During her tenure as United States Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton drew controversy by using a private email server for public communications rather than using official State Department email accounts maintained on federal servers. I hope this is okay. After a years-long FBI investigation, it was determined that Clinton's server did not contain any information or emails that were marked classified. Federal agencies did, however, retrospectively determine that 100 emails contained information that should have been deemed classified at the time they were sent, including 60. So people respond to this and say it wasn't as many. Unless I'm mistaken, it was not the case that Comey even came back and said there was nothing. It was just not as many as he initially said, as if that matters. She smashed phones and devices with hammers. BleachBit wiped hard drives, and now we're supposed to say, well, someone retroactively came back and reduced the number, and so therefore I'm retroactively innocent. It's the conduct itself. The act was not permitted. The destruction of evidence, the dishonesty, but it wasn't as many as Comey once said. He walked that back a little bit, so now we have to believe him walking it back But that's why I destroyed, smashed things with phones and a hammer and bleach bit. Yeah. But Trump, also not a president, by the way, Secretary of State, can't even unilaterally decide to declassify classified information. But no, Comey came back and lowered the number even more. So all is forgiven, all is forgotten. There was so nothing on those servers that they had to be bleach bit wiped. Oh, you mean with like a cloth? Do we all remember that? Do we all remember that? Oh, did I wipe it like with a cloth? Ha ha ha! I don't know how tech works. Harumph. Anyhow, so that's what's on in the news today. I'm going to go look into the story of the January 6th defendants. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it's about, and I'm gonna have to find sources that people will not be able to discredit just by virtue of the sources themselves. 7 o'clock tonight, Sydney Watson. Everybody, this is how it's going to work going forward. I like it. I will put the stream in its entirety on YouTube tomorrow. You won't be able to comment live, but it will be for the world to see on what nonetheless remains the biggest platform on earth for video hosting, controlled by the biggest search or owned by the biggest search engine, Google. Let that potential piece of antitrust monopoly sink in. The biggest search engine owns the biggest video hosting platform, can censor all they want. The cabal of well-funded individuals, changing rules, changing laws, controlling information. What could possibly go wrong? But we'll be doing it like this going forward. I think it's beautiful. Everybody, nobody wants to leave on a black pill. Tonight's sidebar, I think, will leave us with more white pills than black pills. I hope it's not blind optimism, and I hope it's not my own self-serving delusion. I think public sentiment is changing. I think there is a shift in the zeitgeist, and I think it's happening for the better. When there's the old proverb, I forget who said it, when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. The increasingly intense pushback, the red sermon, the persecution of the Steve Bannons of this world, the Donald Trumps, it gets increasingly more intense as the sense of despair of those who are putting this pressure increases. People are getting wise. People are learning. Information is coming out. Buddha once said, 3 things can not long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And the truth is starting to be known. And it's making the gatekeepers of the truth, very uncomfortable. So keep it up. Stay optimistic, because pessimism does nothing. Continue to conduct yourselves in a manner that would make your parents and your children proud, and you can do no wrong. See you all tonight, 7 o'clock. I think it's time for me to go. Enjoy the day, people. Talk to people in real life. Get out there, exercise, sunlight. Be well. See you all tonight, 7 o'clock.